Hello, I'm astrologer coach Sonja Francis, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming new moon, which will be exact in almost 21 degrees of Scorpio on November 13th at 4:27 a.m. East Coast time in the US, New York time, and or 9:27 a.m. London time. Now, this is the beginning of a new moon cycle, as all new moons are. And before we get started, I have two very quick announcements to make. Firstly, I'm really excited to say that I will be a regular guest on the Solidity Today morning show, Hot Topics Friday, starting on November 17th. And if you want to join me once a month while I discuss hot astrology topics with the lovely Brian Wesley Johnson, feel free to do so. There will be a link below this video so you can access the show, or you can also access the show via my new moon article. There will be a link there as well. All right. Secondly, I have a fantastic sale that started on November 5th and will last until Sunday, November 12th at midnight, New York time. And all my readings will be 30% off during that time. And if you're a star member, that 30% off is in addition to the 10% discount that you're already getting with your current membership. So feel free to pick a reading on my website and use the discount code readings for way less at checkout. I'm going to have that discount code below the video as well. That's it. As far as announcements go, back to the new moon. With this new moon in passionate all or nothing Scorpio, it brings our focus to our intimate relationships and deepest emotional desires and fears. Now, we will talk about the best and most potent time to set new moon intentions towards the end of this video, so stay tuned if you're interested in doing so. The other thing with this new moon is eclipse season is finally over. Saturn has stationed direct on November 4th. So we are feeling a bit more grounded and ready to move things forward in a bigger way. A couple of things to note with this new moon chart. Mars, which is the traditional ruler of Scorpio, aligns with the new moon, pretty exact. And all three of those planets make a trine to Neptune in Pisces, as well as an exact opposition to Uranus in Taurus. And Uranus is the planet associated with breakdowns, breakthroughs, sudden change, freedom, and innovation. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, of course, also in a moment. Pluto, which is the modern ruler of Scorpio, is still in serious, cautious, and goal-oriented Capricorn until January 20th of next year. And it still squares the moon nodes in Aries, Libra until December 8th, 9th, towards the end of the year. And Pluto also still trines Uranus in Taurus and still sextiles Neptune in Pisces. This has been sort of like an ongoing theme over the last several weeks. Now, Mercury, which is the messenger of the heavens, sextiles Venus in Libra and squares an exalted Saturn in Pisces at the time of the new moon. Now, we'll talk about all of that in detail in a second. First, let's start with the Scorpio energy, since the new moon is in Scorpio. Scorpio is the second water sign of the zodiac. It is associated with the dark, the taboo, the subconscious, and also unknown aspects of our lives. So the shadow, you could say. And because it deals with the shadow aspects of our lives, which contain our fears, unresolved traumas, repressed qualities that we don't want to be with, we are invited to surrender to our higher power and letting go of resentments and fears. When we do that, that can lead to peace, authentic connection, and inner strength. Now, the scorpion is the symbol of Scorpio, but there's also two other symbols, which is the eagle and the dove. And they're all associated with the sign. And it symbolizes, the Scorpio symbolizes self-protection. The eagle symbolizes instinctive desire. And the dove symbolizes transformation and peace. So to address our shadow issues, we want to consider our desires, our fears, and also sometimes our sense of humor will give away what is hidden in below the surface. So pay attention to your sense of humor to see what some of these shadow aspects might be. Now, over the next 4 weeks, we should reclaim projections that we have that we put onto other people, the outside world. We should identify what bothers us, but also what we admire, and explore reoccurring dreams or daydreams. All of these things could give us a fantastic answer to where our shadow material lies, our own individual shadow material. Now, let's talk about some of the planetary aspects in this new moon chart. Now, the new moon aligns with Mars in Scorpio, as I mentioned earlier already, bringing a heightened focus towards our deepest desires and motivations. This alignment definitely encourages us to question our behaviors, whether they're driven by fear or self-protection, or to explore destructive patterns in our relationships and financial partnerships. So we really want to do like a deep dive here. Now, the Sun and Mars will journey closely together until November 29th, so for quite a long time, making a conjunction in almost 26 degrees of Scorpio on November 18th. And this conjunction is important because it only happens every 2 years. It's a 2-year journey. And this helps us grow and learn and become a stronger, more resilient version of ourselves, because it's in Scorpio, right? We learn how to overcome, to transform things. Now, we feel more confident and capable of accomplishing anything brand new with that Sun-Mars combination, and we are excited to tackle challenging tasks. Now, the Moon-Sun-Mars alignment, the trifactor here, invites us to face our worst fears and deal with anything that has been repressed or denied, such as our power, our own truth, and also our light. Sometimes when we suppress certain things, we also suppress part of our light. Now, by letting go of our attachments and fears, we definitely can build more inner strength, and we also need to allow ourselves to trust the process of transformation, because it's a process. It's not something that happens in a split second. Like, when we think with our mind, that can happen. We can go back and forth to places very quickly. But Scorpio is a water sign, which is connected to our emotional world, which means it takes time to transform and to let go and to see what's really there. And definitely acknowledging what's there, it's very important with Scorpio. So ask yourself, can I name my fears and allow myself to be with my traumas or pain? Can I trust this process? This is not always comfortable to do this. Scorpio is not a comfortable sign necessarily. But when we do that Scorpio work, it's extremely empowering, very powerful, and it gives us so much inner strength, and it leaves us feeling more empowered and more authentic. Now, something to be aware of is we may look at life through sort of like a black and white lens with Scorpio, and we may take things a little bit too personally, and we might be focused on worst case scenarios. So be aware of those things, because that can tip you into the lower vibration of Scorpio. Now ask yourself, am I noticing an obsessive quality in my behaviors or actions? Am I afraid of something terrible happening, or just concerned? What if I surrendered 5% of my fears? Right? We always want to start with a small number, 5% of my fears. Could I just surrender those fears? And what if I experimented with taking a deep breath when I feel impatient or scared? Yeah, we remember Mars is involved here, so impatience is a sign of a Martian energy, because Mars wants to move fast. Now, the new moon Mars alignment trines Neptune in Pisces and opposes Uranus in Taurus. So let's talk about some of those aspects from this new moon chart. Now, Neptune is associated with universal love, unity, oneness, imagination, creative and spiritual inspiration. And these are obviously the higher vibrational energies of Neptune. The trine between Neptune and the new moon Mars alignment allows us to release anything related to traumas from the past and fears that keep us stuck or disconnected from others. Now, with this combo, it is easy to let go of fears and attachments, and we can have faith that everything will turn out for the highest and best interest of everyone involved. So that's something I like to sometimes focus on when I get scared on a personal level, to give it over to a higher power, or to say whatever is meant to happen for the highest and best interest of everyone involved is what I wish for and is what is supposed to happen. So that sometimes takes the focus away from yourself, and it also just creates a little bit more space and more peace. So ask yourself here, what might shift if I trusted the timing of everything that is currently unfolding? And what if acceptance of what is was key to manifesting my goals? You know, Neptune is very big on acceptance. And Scorpio can get scared, so Scorpio can sometimes resist the things as they are, because Scorpio wants to control things out of fear. So what if I could just create some acceptance and spaciousness here? And I will also talk a little bit more about the upcoming station direct phases of Neptune in Pisces and Chiron in Aries in more detail in my next forecasting forum. So if you want to know how these planetary shifts and these exaltations are going to impact you personally, feel free to join us. We will apply what's coming up to our own birth charts. And the forum is on Friday, December 1st at 5 p.m. It's going to be the last forecasting forum of the year. And for more information, feel free to click on the link below this video. It's also available on my website if you want to check out the countdown on my homepage at astrologercoach.com. And it will also be available for purchase as an MP4 video presentation after December 1st on my webinar page on my website. Now, please remember that every registration for the forecasting forum also includes access to the next members full moon video and a recording of the live event. So these are things that are included. And there is an early bird special that will be available until November 29th at midnight, New York time. So feel free to take advantage of that. Now, let's talk about the opposition to Uranus in Taurus with the new moon. Uranus is the planet associated with breakdowns, breakthroughs, sudden change, freedom, innovation. Some of the things we already mentioned earlier. And Uranus in Taurus is urging us to let go of traditional values and focus on a better financial future for everyone involved, as well as shifting our relationship to our own planet and our own body, physical body, anything physical. We want to shift and kind of have like a new innovative approach. And so this opposition may lead to unexpected changes over the next 4 weeks after the new moon becomes exact, prompting us to examine our relationship to money, power, and our resources, personal resources and shared resources that we have with other people. Now, we may feel quite restless and impatient with that opposition. We might demand things that maybe we can't have, or we might feel a little bit difficult to please in connection with other people. And what's really important here is that we balance our need for a deeper, more empowered experience with others while also honoring our own personal values and our freedom. That is very important, to find that balance between what's important to us, what's needed in connection with other people. Now, we may also feel nervous or anxious as we become aware of what's no longer working for us financially, physically, or emotionally. And it is important to channel this kind of choppy energy, this kind of like restless energy productively, and to avoid rushing into things. So if you feel this urge because things feel a little bit choppy or uncertain or whatever, and if you feel this urge to take some kind of action that feels a little bit rash, just take a deep breath, before you do anything, and just go into this peaceful place of like, I'm okay and I'm going to be okay. And then also ask yourself, how might I channel this restless energy into projects that are asking for progress? And how might I channel or just burn off all this erratic energy that I'm feeling? Maybe something needs to change, but we definitely want to take care not to rush into anything. All right. Now ask yourself, how might staying flexible when it comes to my intimate relationships or financial partnerships benefit me right now? And how might staying calm in this uncertain climate support my sanity? And how might thinking outside the box support my connection with others? So sometimes we need to just adjust ourselves or stay flexible in order to have healthier connections with other people, whether that's financial connections or intimate connections with other people. Now, Pluto, which is the modern ruler of Scorpio, makes several aspects in this new moon chart, all of which we have explored in previous videos and articles, so I will not repeat those again. However, feel free to read about all of those aspects in my last Lunar Eclipse in Taurus article. If you are a member of my online community, you will have access to that article. But if you're not a member yet, you can get access by becoming a member. The first month of the universal membership is free of charge. So if you want to check that out and see if that is in alignment with you and of interest to you, then feel free to take advantage of that. I will have that discount code for you below this video. Feel free to use that if you want to check this out. All right. Now, lastly, I want to mention some aspects that involve Mercury in Sagittarius. Now, Mercury, which is the messenger of the universe, moves into this adventurous sign on November 10th, where it will journey for an extended period because it will go retrograde in December. And whenever a planet goes retrograde, it just spends more time in the same area of a sign. Now, we will cover the last Mercury retrograde phase of the year, which happens from December 13th until January 1st. In our last forecasting forum of the year on December 1st at 5 p.m. New York time, 2 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. London time. So feel free to see what all that is about by clicking on the link below this video for more information or to register. All right, now Mercury will make a square to an exalted Saturn in Pisces. And so this combo signifies a maturity process that demands adjustment and flexibility. Saturn in Pisces asks us to eliminate anything that keeps us disconnected from our intuitive nature and the natural flow of life. Now, because Mercury in Sagittarius focuses more on the outside world, we are dealing with the challenge of finding time for internal focus and outer exploration, right? So how do we find time for turning inward, and how do we stay excited about learning and exploring life? And so ask yourself, where am I called to make a commitment that serves a greater alignment with the natural flow of life? And could I allow myself to find time to process internally what I'm experiencing in the outer world? Could I notice when I feel impatient? Could I practice slowing down so I can fully listen to my intuitive self and receive messages from my higher self? Now, Mercury also makes a sextile to Venus in Libra at the time of the new moon, and this gives us an opportunity for more enthusiastic and collaborative connections with other people. And it's also an opportune time to make new social contacts, especially with people who share our philosophies of life. And so you can ask yourself here, who comes to mind when I think of people who share my philosophies? Or how might we be able to support each other? Or what needs to be said? What do I need to share with that person? Now, to sum it all up for this new moon, being open to trusting the process and going with the flow are definitely key. Scorpio's territory is not always easy. Facing our deepest feelings and fears, confronting our demons and our death is the most difficult work we will ever do. And we're not just talking about physical death here. We're talking about the death of anything that needs to go. But the thing with Scorpio is, however, it is extremely rewarding when we do the work. Inner peace, freedom, and feeling fully alive is the results that we get when we do the work. And that makes it all worth it. Now, the new moon in Scorpio encourages us to let go of anything that is dead or toxic, often connected to past disempowerment. And, the survival brain thinks that control brings power, that it brings certainty, that it brings stability. But that, unfortunately, is an illusion that's based in fear. What really actually helps us to feel empowered and to have stability is when we can let go. And so remember, fear is resistance to life or experiences, whereas love is acceptance of life in all its form and all of the good, the bad, and the ugly that we experience internally or externally in this human existence. And that's part of being alive. So ask yourself, as best as you can, could I acknowledge any self-resistance? Resistance towards others, to life itself. And it is important to realize that letting go is not about loss, but about transformation and empowerment, that every ending is always a new beginning. And also trust, of course, plays a significant role in this process. And trust is something that develops over time. Trust is essential in intimate relationships and also in any authentic connection that you want to have with another person, whether that's, being with a therapist or a person that wants to support you in your life. An authentic connection is important because otherwise you can't trust that person. And it can sometimes take time for those who have experienced traumatic events or circumstances in their past relationships or in life. Sometimes it takes time to trust, to learn how to trust, to build trust. So as best as you can, be patient and kind with yourself, especially if you fall into that category. And then ask yourself, what if true intimacy with another is only possible when I allow for the full range of all my feelings, all the emotions? And what if my capacity for love and joy grew directly in relationship to my ability to embrace all of my fears and all of my pain? Some very powerful questions here. Now, of course, flexibility and open-mindedness will help us navigate this new moon. And if you have an ascendant or any personal planets in 18 to 23 degrees of Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, or Aquarius, then this new moon will have a much greater impact on you personally. And if you don't have planets or points in those degrees or signs, look to see where does 21 degrees of Libra land in your own birth chart, because that house or that area of your life will be the most impacted by this new moon. And then also watch my class on how to read your birth chart if you don't know quite how to look this up, if you don't quite know how to make use of what I just shared. That class is available for free on my website on the homepage. If you scroll down to a window that says free class, and you just click on that window and it will take you to that class. Now, last but definitely not least, new moon intentions. Let's talk about that. The new moon is also the best time to set some powerful intentions for this month's moon cycle. Intentions are best done soon after the new moon becomes exact, and definitely not during a moon void of course phase. We want to avoid those moon void of course phases because when we set intentions during that time, it doesn't quite stick. So we want to only set new moon intentions when the moon is not void of course. And this month, the best time to set intentions would be any time between 4:27 a.m. and 6:03 p.m. on November 13th. And then again from 9:23 p.m. on November 13th until 4:27 a.m. on November 15th. And that is all New York time, US East Coast time. And if you live in a different time zone than US East Coast time, feel free to join my Facebook fan page or follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter. I will be posting reminders on November 13th, 14th, and 15th to let you know when it is the most potent time to set your intentions. And when you see those reminders, just sit down and write down your intentions. And if you need a little bit more information about how to set your new moon intentions, feel free to go to my website, to the article that I wrote on the subject. There will be a link below this video for that as well. All right, now have a fantastic new moon. Remember, there is a sale going on until November 12th at midnight in New York time. And also, I will be part of a radio show once a month, so feel free to check out those links. And if you are a member, I will see you again in about 2 weeks for the full moon video to see how far you've come with setting your new moon intentions. You can also get access to that full moon video if you register for the monthly forecasting forum by December 1st at 3 p.m. And if you are not yet a member of my online community, I will see you in about 4 weeks for the next new moon video. So no matter what, until I see you next, much love, and as best as you can, take really good care of your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being.